Welcome to the Tuesday Review. I'm Nathan.
I'm James.
I'm Callum.
And I'm Callum.
Yeah, we're joined by Alan tonight. First off, we're going to be talking about Death Stranding tonight. However, Nathan's only played a couple hours. Alan hasn't started it yet. Callum's chapter 3.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've spent a lot of hours on it,
Yeah.
but only just delivering packages.
I'm up to I'm up to chapter 10, so I'm quite a while into it. But anyway, my point is I'm going to call this episode Death Stranding Part 1.
Yeah, like impressions.
Yeah, and then we'll just talk about, and then once everyone's finished it, then we can do another episode called Part 2. That might never happen.
No, we'll do Death Stranding, the definitive edition.
Yeah.
Game of the Year edition.
Yeah, deluxe. That might
A whole
never
package.
Yeah, that might never happen because by the time everyone finishes the game, might not, ever happen. But I'll call it Part 1 because I don't want to just call it Death Stranding and then have another episode also called Death Stranding later on.
Fair call. Cool.
Also, I think first we should just mention the Black Adam thing because it'll only take a minute and it's really annoying us.
I'm not happy, James.
Yeah, so if the listeners remember when we did the Shazam review, and I went on a whole tangent for like 10-20 minutes about The Rock being cast as Dwayne Johnson being cast as Black Adam, who's
contractually obligated never to be a villain.
Yeah, who Black Adam is known as Shazam's arch nemesis. Like
he is, for the most part, a pretty bad dude.
Yeah, he's like anti-Shazam. Like he's like the bad version of Shazam. So, but of course, because The Rock's playing him, we were all worried, and because The Rock is such a huge megastar, we were all worried that they were going to turn Black Adam, who was getting a solo movie before being crossed over with Shazam. We were all worried The Rock was going to change it into like more of an anti-hero or just a straight up superhero.
Which is exactly what's happened.
Then this is exactly what happened when The Rock, tweeted something about how, like he loved Superman, but Superman was never a character he could play. And so now Black Adam is his Superman. And because Black Adam is this, unique hero who plays by his own rules.
He's an anti-hero.
Yeah, so basically saying that
he's not a villain.
Yeah, Black Adam is just going to be a superhero.
Samoan Superman.
So, yeah.
In DC, we're not going to talk about Marvel Comics, but in DC, you've got your villains, like your really villainous, mustache twirling bad guys like the Joker and Lex Luthor and such.
Yeah.
Then you have your villains who occupy a more grey area. Right, these are people like Hush, Black Adam, and so on. Yeah. Like, just because a character has a complicated and rich backstory doesn't mean you get to make him a good guy just because you don't want to play a villain.
Also, I'm pretty sure we talked about this more than once, maybe on air, maybe off air, but like there's like 50, 60, 70, 80 years of comic book history.
Yeah.
And characters change over time.
That's right.
Black Adam now in the New 52 and that, he might be more of an anti-hero, but when he was introduced, he was more of a villain, and
start these things at the beginning and start him as a bad guy.
Yeah, and depending on what writer is writing the character, depending on what they're doing with the story, the character will change. But yeah, if you're making a Shazam movie and introducing his arch nemesis, he has to start as a bad guy.
Exactly.
Yeah. You can redeem him later.
That's right. Yeah, character growth can happen.
Yeah,
exactly. You don't have a transition at the start of a film.
Exactly.
These comic arcs are long-form trends. They don't happen overnight. You can't take a newer example of Shazam and throw him next to the origin story of Shazam, and expect him to be a good guy.
What's going to end up happening is when they do Shazam versus Black Adam, because they've set Black Adam up more as an anti-hero, the warring ideologies of the good Shazam and the
bad Black Adam.
The bad Black Adam. Like, that's not going to be there. It's going to end up being like a Batman versus Superman situation where Zack Snyder had no clue what he was doing and he turned Superman into a angry, depressed guy.
Release the Snyder Cut.
Oh, God. We can't talk about that.
So, look...
And then you've got Batman, the same thing. It's like, well, they don't have differing ideologies or different personalities, so what's the point of them fighting?
Look, so I feel like in DC Comics, occasionally there'll be a big bad, like, what's his name? Darkseid or whatever, and you'll have other bad guys will team up to help defeat Darkseid because, like the Joker, for example, assists Batman when Batman goes to kill Darkseid at the end of Final Crisis.
Oh, really?
I'm pretty sure he does, yeah.
Even Joker's like, that guy's...
Yeah, no, like Joker's
Worse.
like the idea is, yeah, you're a bad guy, but what's the fun of being a bad guy if the universe is going to be obliterated?
Yeah.
So, because Black Adam is not a wholly evil individual,
Yeah.
he will sometimes help people do things, but that doesn't mean he's a hero. It's like that's the way
Yeah.
people need to look at it. Is
Yeah.
he's a bad guy
Well,
who has his own motives
yeah.
and he does bad things, but he has helped people in the past because it aligns with his goals.
The most we can hope for is that they do something more like that, where he's a bad guy, but he at the end of the day he would help in a
I'm more of a
apocalyptic situation. However, we do see in Shazam, the original Shazam during ancient Egypt or whatever, when the wizard shows Billy the hologram thing, we do see Black Adam, pretty sure, committing genocide.
Yeah, he kills a lot of people.
he's a bad guy.
So, like, again, The Rock they can't wipe that out of the continuity.
They
will,
can,
But they will, because...
because Dwayne Johnson. I'm coming.
Dwayne Johnson's ego.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. I'm coming at this from a much more pessimistic angle.
Yeah.
Because I do not see Dwayne Johnson ever playing a villain, not a real villain.
But here's the thing, but that's the thing, is that's why one of the reasons The Rock's career is so boring, because he plays the same
dude
character
in every movie.
time. And that's one of the reasons I think Fast and Furious 5 is still his best movie, is because even though he's playing a cop, he's like the antagonist.
Because he and Vin Diesel actually wanted to fight each other, and that comes through on the screen.
But it's like he's the antagonist.
The violence was real in that movie.
He's the antagonist to the family, you know? So it's like he's more of an interesting, badass character.
Even then, he sort of wiggled himself out of it.
Yeah, and now he's Superman in the Fast and Furious franchise. Like, now he's part of the family. So...
It's so stupid.
Yeah, it's just... We knew it was going to happen. We called it months and months ago. Years ago when he was announced, we knew it was going to happen, but...
I'm going to say this. We all should reserve judgment, because everyone here apart from me thought Shazam was going to be a train wreck, and it was a pretty wonderful movie.
Yeah, I
So-
thought it was going to be train wreck until the trailer came out and it didn't look
Yeah, and
that
I was like,
bad.
see, I knew. I had a gut feeling.
Yeah.
And so we'll see what happens.
We'll see. I mean, the Shazam was good, and hopefully they can keep up the quality. Yeah, probably not. We'll see.
Moving on.
Moving on. Death Stranding. I thought we were going to have a big sesh about it, but it looks like probably in the studio it's not going to happen. But we'll just talk about generally, because we talked a lot about, the trailers and the theories and stuff like that.
And babies.
And the BBs. But now actually playing it, it's like, we'll just talk about the experience of it. And
the walking, and you need to change your
and the
boots every now
climbing.
and again.
Yeah, love it. Love it. But that's the thing, is the game is everything I expected it to be.
Yeah, me too.
And also not everything I expected it to be. It's not a great game, but it's also one of the best games I've ever played. It's a Kojima game.
yeah.
You know? Do you know what I mean?
I feel like...
It's amazing.
You know how every now and again we'll be like, they should let David Lynch make a movie, we give him $100 million and just let him go off the rails?
Yeah.
That's kind of what happened with this game.
Sort of, yeah. But it's like,
It's like-
I'll be playing it and I'll be like, this is the best game ever made. And then I'll be like, but I have problems with this and problems with that. And then I'll be like, no, but that's actually why the game is so good. It's this weird...
Look,
It feels like you're in an abusive relationship.
you are.
Look, I'm a
Maybe.
little bit, I'm a little bit of a traitor in the studio at the moment.
Yeah.
Because I was playing Death Stranding and I got bored as fuck.
Yeah, so...
And then I'm like, you know what else I can play? The new Star Wars Fallen Jedi Order game and the new Pokemon.
Yeah, so
So I played those games.
You
and I'm having a good time.
abandoned the game we've been hyping up and talking about for years to play two of like Star Wars, which we
It's a good
notoriously
game.
hate in
on
the
paper,
studio.
on paper, both of these games are a dodgy proposition.
exactly, and fucking the new Pokemon game, which is
Very fun, all right? It has its issues, which we've talked about on Sunrise Arcade. But I'm actually quite enjoying...
Yeah.
I'm up to
The
a league
experience.
challenge. Gotten all my badges, eh?
Oh, very good.
Yeah. Working hard.
Yeah.
And also trying to study for medical school exams, but... gotta catch 'em all.
I mean, the one's more important than the other, and I
Exactly.
won't say which one's.
Being league champion.
Yeah. But yeah, like I think it's going to be hard to talk about the game without spoilers. So I guess just very very mild spoilers in.
We can
just in
talk
terms
about
of
the
mechanics.
we can talk about the story, the world you find yourselves in.
Yeah,
like
I
the
mean,
context.
Broad strokes.
We talked a lot about the game before it came out.
It's basically Kevin Costner's The Postman.
Basically,
Pretty much.
As in a video
fiction,
game.
more science fiction version.
And I guess we should also talk about how Kojima has said that he's creating a genre that a new genre.
No,
Bullshit.
so that's
I would argue he's done that.
no. So this was a mythy purpose. Do you remember there was a guy who was it that said he invented adventure games?
Oh yeah, the guy who did some David Cage.
Yeah, no, it's like that. It's like some guy with a big ego makes a giant statement that's completely wrong.
Yeah.
So the first game to have the strand system was Dark Souls, without a doubt.
Oh,
you could
okay.
put down warnings for other
Yeah.
players.
Or Demon Souls.
Demon Souls, sorry. It's like a single player game. You can put down warnings for other players. You can put down items for other players.
Yeah.
You can even help other players with bosses.
Yeah.
Like Kojima, whether he knew about this or not, he didn't invent it.
Yeah, but that's not what I'm saying is the whole because it's not a combat game, but it has combat. It's not a walking simulator, but it has lots of walking. And so I don't really know what to call it.
It's an adventure game.
I would call it an adventure game.
Fair enough.
Like action adventure.
Yeah. But also this brings me to another point is I feel like there's the way most people have been playing the game and the way I've been playing the game. And then there's the way you're supposed to play the game. And then there's the way Kojima wants you to play the game. And then there's the fact that could be said, I guess, about any game. But I think in this case, the game is so ambitious that sometimes I'll be playing it and I'll be like, the only way to truly experience this game is to never play any other game except for this game. But then you could say that about Breath of the Wild or something like that.
Or The Witcher.
Yeah.
Any of those big open world.
Yeah, I kind of
big
agree
scope.
because now I'm not sure. So Kojima tweeted out something today that says that don't worry because the game is replayable. Now I don't know if it's his poor English or he's just making a very obvious statement because I think that what he means is either it's open-ended or there's a new game plus, which I don't know.
Yeah.
Because every game's replayable. You can literally play any game as many times as you want.
Yeah.
So I don't know why he would tweet something like that unless he's inferring that
Well,
you can keep contributing to the world.
I think that's what
after
he's
you've
implying,
finished.
yeah.
So I think that maybe the best way to play the game is to semi-immerse yourself,
Yeah.
finish the story at your own pace,
Yeah.
but then when you've completed the story, go back and help others,
Yeah.
deliver packages if you want, get your stars up.
Yeah.
And I think
Well-
that's the way people should play it is don't ignore one element of it
Yeah.
because ultimately you can experience it at your own pace
Yeah.
and see everything.
The new Pokemon has elements of this too.
What, like...
If you connect to the internet, you can see other people running around in wild areas, and you
Yeah.
talk to them, they give you things.
Well, that's another thing we should talk about is Kojima kept saying there's this whole the strand system and the connecting players and we were all speculating what does that mean? How metaphysical and how philosophical is it going to get? But at the end of the day, it's like a Dark Souls system or it's like something
It's an obviously simple system.
Yeah, but it's also tied so deeply into what Kojima is trying to say with every part of the game, which is bringing people together.
That's right.
And creating bridges.
The amount of times a well-placed ladder
Strands, yeah.
has outright saved me literally 30 minutes.
Yeah.
or a rope.
Yeah. But that's the thing is because I've talked about on the show before, I don't like multiplayer games, even soft multiplayer or whatever you call a game like Death Stranding where you don't have to actually be online, you don't actually have to team up with or fight against other players. I've always been about the single player experience from start to finish, story driven, nothing outside of that. And so when you're walking in the wilderness and you look at a cliff and you're like, there's no way I'm going to be able to scale that, and you find someone's left a ladder for you, I'm just like...
See, I want to be the biggest dick in this game and leave a ladder that's slightly too small for someone to scale the cliff.
Oh, man.
And they'll climb it thinking, but it's no, I've done the measurements. You can't get up there.
That's never been a problem for me. The problems have always been the ladder's too tall, and you end up
Yeah,
going
yeah,
too
yeah.
far above,
making the baby
and
cry.
then falling, and then accidentally falling off the top of the
Damaging your
ladder.
cargo.
Yeah,
I don't want to be malicious about it. I just want people to
Well,
climb the
look-
ladder and then have to climb back down and be all dejected.
Yeah.
about
Outside of Lake Knot City, some person positioned a ladder on the back of a car, so when you're on your bike, you could do a sick trick.
oh yeah.
That's what the game's all about,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, exactly. Like a lot of the times I'll see all these ladders everywhere. I'm like, why has someone done that? Like, there's no reason for it. And then you realize, like, it's just someone having a really good time.
Yeah.
Just feeling like, let's.
Can you just position letters to make a message, like just say "fuck you" on it? Just
I guess if you had enough ladders, you probably
Yeah.
could. Yeah,
get like a
if you laid them all down.
get like a group
Although-
of people, just like
You'd be
make
better
it
off doing post boxes.
Although, yeah, I'm not actually sure. I'm not actually sure how like the servers work and stuff. And like,
Yeah.
if you put a certain amount of ladders in the same area, that might cancel each other out in someone else's game.
because it's instanced, yeah.
Yeah, because like when you're playing the game, not everyone's contributions is going to come to your game. I don't.
That
think.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
There'd
they'd be just
billion
ladders.
and
Yeah, there'd just be, like,
Everywhere.
crap
Too many signs.
everywhere. Yeah, but that brings me back to the point I was trying to make is where I would like to play this game completely offline and see
You'd
what
have a
that would
terrible
be
time.
like.
You'd have a
No.
terrible time.
Yeah, but that's not how the game's meant to be played. But I would like to just see what that experience would be like, a full single player
Yeah.
experience.
You know, less BTs, more inventory space, maybe.
No, there'd be heaps of BTs. What do you mean?
No, I mean, if I had to play it single player, like on my own with no help,
Yeah.
less BTs, more ladder availability.
Oh yeah, you'd
That's
need,
what he would want.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you need. Oh man, you'd need some sort of like 10 ladder equipment thing on your
Yeah.
backpack that you can always carry. We're just kind of rambling. Should we talk about
Well-
what the game's actually about, like how it started?
So you are Norman Reedus with his Norman,
Norman
Fetus, otherwise known as Sam Porter Bridges with his BB-28.
BB, best character this year.
Yeah, thumbs up from the baby.
Yeah, like BB give you a like. I like
BB,
that.
yeah. And essentially, I don't want to use. You start off as a kind of a semi-legendary porter who
Yeah, it's-
doesn't want to contribute.
It's set in like the near future where some sort of apocalyptic event called the Death Stranding has happened, which has like destroyed.
the veil between life and death.
Yeah, it's like broken that barrier down, but also destroyed parts of the US
Yeah,
to the point where all the cities across the continent are disconnected.
yeah, that's right.
And Sam is a porter who like travels from city to city delivering
Just like Kevin
items.
Costner.
Yeah, it's pretty much. And he's disconnected. He doesn't believe in anything. It's very much Kevin Costner's character from The Postman. And like the goal of the game is that the president of
The UCA.
the UCA, the United Cities of America, she tasks you with connecting all the cities across America into their new network, the chiral
Yep.
network, and basically reuniting America.
Just like the Postman.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
exactly.
So the interesting thing about Death Stranding is it relies heavily on quantum mechanics.
Yeah.
Which is what I'm pretty sure that's what qubit means, a quantum bit, little computer device.
Oh yeah.
So essentially, the network in Death Stranding is not the internet; it's the chiral network.
Yeah.
And how it operates is, in the past, before the Death Stranding, they discovered all this new tech,
Yeah.
right? Which is like the chiral stuff.
Yeah.
And essentially, information travels through like the realm of death
Yeah.
because time is
Different.
it works differently there, and out into the realm of the living, like thousands of miles away.
Yeah.
But you can transmit using the realm of death, or the beach,
Yeah.
as it's called in the game. You can transmit like huge volumes of data
Yeah.
instantaneously.
Yeah.
So it's like you can do all this really cool like 3D printing stuff
Yeah.
and all that. That's all done through the quantum network.
Yeah.
Ah, I see. So it's actually supposed to be an allegory to Australia trying to connect the NBN up.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah.
And the
Except
BTs
more successful.
Some of us
and
are
the-
stuck on the beach.
And yeah, it's right.
less,
The
and
terrorists
less dangerous.
and the terrorists are, of course, our ISPs, trying to stop it all from happening.
Or a liberal government. Ah.
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
it's Rupert Murdoch.
No,
He's
the
right.
BTs are the nationals.
Yeah.
Essentially, the literal game, like what you literally do,
Yeah.
apart from cutscenes, is travel from one city to the next,
Yeah.
connecting all of the cities with your little qubit device.
Yeah. But also, and you take like equipment and deliveries
supplies.
from place to place.
And
And
try
you-
not to upset the baby.
Yeah, and of
Yeah.
course you have to rock the baby when you get.
Yeah.
I shook it
poor
too
baby.
hard, and my mum got upset.
Yeah.
Oh, I would get upset. Don't hurt
Yeah,
my
no,
baby.
baby. I love baby.
She was
Yeah.
no, this is serious, Alan. She was watching me play it, and I had to soothe the baby, and I'm shaking the controller,
No.
and the baby cries harder, and Mum's like, "Stop it!"
Yeah, he gets mad if you shake him too hard. Don't do anything.
BB does
to
a
me,
lot
man.
for us.
Don't
Yeah.
shake. Public service announcement: please don't shake your babies.
No.
BB does a lot for us. You respect.
Yeah, BB's.
BB's
like-
a king.
Yeah.
Anyway, essentially along your journey, you will encounter BTs or
Yeah.
beached things, which are dead, like the spirits of dead people.
Yeah.
And because it's like antimatter and matter, if you come into contact
They
with
grab
a
you, yeah.
with a BT, it causes a void
Void out. Yeah.
which is like a nuclear explosion.
Pretty much. Yeah.
The only
It's
people
like an
who,
antimatter
yeah,
explosion.
the only people who can survive it are people who are called the repatriated,
Yeah.
which is not explained early in the game. I don't know if it gets explained later on.
Not really.
But they're essentially people who died and then came back from the dead somehow.
Yeah.
And they can't really die. They
They're-
can die, but they can't really die.
There's so much stuff. There's the Doom's disease, and there's
Yeah,
so much
which
stuff
lets you-
we can't even like talk about.
Doom's
That.
kind of, it's like a disease which allows people to have a deeper connection to the beach.
Yeah.
So
Which
what's
means-
the negative?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there is a negative. Like the worse your Dooms is, like the more
Yeah.
corrupt you become.
It's never clear.
Because there are other characters like Troy Baker's character
Yeah.
who has a higher level of Dooms, but he also doesn't have use of his hands. So I'm assuming that he has like his hands are all fucked up. They're like goopy. And he mentions it. He's like, I can't, I can do this with my hands. I can't do much else. And he pulls a catcher out of the ground.
Really, I don't remember that bit.
Yeah. It's referenced in when you get to Port Knot City. His hands are all messed up, and he because it's all like blue, gushing blackness out of his hands.
Huh.
And he mentions how he can't use his
James has
hands.
been playing the game in press mode, not doing anything.
No.
Just cutscenes going around.
No, I've been watching
Yeah.
all the cutscenes. I'm so far past that point that
Yeah.
I've forgotten
So-
that point because he clearly uses his hands later in the
Yeah,
game.
but with gloves on, right?
Oh, okay. When he takes
Yeah.
them off. Okay.
So
yeah.
I'm assuming that it does something to your flesh.
Yeah.
So you
I think,
have more of a
because the world of the living and the world of the dead, the barrier has been
broken. The higher your Dooms is, the
Yeah.
further you're pushed into the beach,
Yeah.
basically.
Pretty much, yeah. So
So-
you can end up just like being
Too far.
Decomposing.
Yeah.
pretty much turn into a BT
Yeah.
slowly, sort of
Yeah.
thing.
The beach days.
Beach
Beach
days.
days. That's right. So I like that part. I want to know more about that.
Yeah. It's really cool. Like with all Kojima games, it's so convoluted and so complex, and there's so much stuff to work through. And this game, like you were saying, it's like quantum theory and stuff. Like there's so much
Can I just-
philosophy.
They did make a novelization of the game
Really?
in Japan only.
Oh,
So it's like a big middle finger up to everyone who wants to understand the world more.
Yeah.
It's like, nah, man, speak Japanese or you're
I'm
out.
sure some weeb will translate it
Yeah.
and put it on the internet.
I'm
Please
kind
do
of-
also throw shade at the Americans.
I'm kind of interested in that. I feel like a book in that universe could be really cool.
Well, that's the thing about Kojima is like this game, like it could be a really good like Netflix series or something.
Oh, yeah.
Like you could just stay in this world for multiple hours, not just in game form, but I mean just in terms of the storytelling. Because most of the game, even though it's a story-driven game, quote unquote, most of the game is just the deliveries.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it story. I mean, it's
Yeah.
story driven in the sense that
And
there's
then-
it has you explore the story as you go.
and then occasionally when you get to a certain city or deliver a certain package,
Stuff
like
will
it'll
happen.
trigger a cutscene
Yeah.
and then it'll inform you about the characters and stuff. But yeah, the actual gameplay is more about
running
connecting
around.
people.
The
yeah.
co-op simulator. 'Cause,
Yeah.
of
Falling in
course-
rivers and losing all of your cargo, just like me.
So you guys,
Oh, I've quit the game. Like, when that's happened, I've turned it off. I'm like, nah.
No, man, I fell down a cliff. I just rebooted last checkpoint.
See, when
and
I do
did it
that, I'm just
again.
like, I'm not having fun. I'm going to play some Star Wars.
Nah, man.
It has
traitor.
Saw Gerrera in it.
Traitor.
Otherwise, it's good time.
so you
See,
haven't-
this is why.
You haven't started a fight with Mads Mikkelsen's character yet, or?
Yeah,
Spoilers.
Yeah. Well, I mean those bits were in the. That's another thing is like the trailers we've seen and
Yeah.
the sort of things like those are actually from all throughout the game.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not just like Kojima was like, here's what happens at the
Yeah.
start, and then it's gonna like he actually showed you everything was gonna happen. It's just how it happens and why it happens.
I haven't met Cliff yet. I'm anticipating it.
Yeah, it's soon. It's a slow, but like I said, like
One thing I will say that's funny is one of the because you can't use real violence in the game.
yeah,
Well, I mean, I don't know if
You
you
can,
can,
yeah.
but you're not. It's not advised
Yeah.
because you don't want to cause more. When someone dies in Death Stranding, they become a BT
yeah,
because no one dies anymore. Basically,
Yeah.
when you die, your body becomes a like a ticking time bomb.
yeah,
And when
because
it
it'll cause a void out. Yeah,
When it explodes, it generates like a beached thing.
yeah,
No,
but yeah, and it also explodes and like destroys the whole city.
yeah,
So
Um,
people, if you
they
you
go
can't-
necro.
Yeah, you can't just kill someone.
So if you, I know there are mules in the game like bandits.
Yeah.
If I shoot one in the head,
It'll become a BT. Yeah,
does
so
it make a void out?
it would do.
Does a Minecraft-esque blow up some of the
Yeah.
like?
No. I mean,
I don't like. I don't. I've been playing the game non-lethally, which I think is the advised way.
Yeah.
But I don't actually know if you can cause a void out because that would change.
might be a good way to get through some mountains.
That's what I'm saying.
that would
Blobs,
change.
yeah.
That would change the game so much.
Yeah,
And as far as I know, I haven't
BTs
heard.
everywhere though, so it's like it's.
That's
not
the thing. I think it just increases the number of BTs, so it just makes the game harder.
That's the first thing I'm gonna do when I get in the game. Just shoot people.
Just murder everyone.
You can beat the crap out of mules. That's what I've
Yeah.
been doing, and
You
also
can use,
Ebola guns.
You can use
You have a little rope
luggage.
thing.
Yeah, no, but you can actually use packages and luggage to hit them and throw stuff at them.
Is that
Can
the
you
blue
deliver-
briefcase thing? That
No,
can-
no, like any package you can actually
Carry.
carry,
Yeah.
and you can throw it and hit people.
This is not a spoiler, but like one of the first missions of the game involves you basically dealing with a corpse. Yeah.
Yeah,
So you can in the early game you can carry a body.
yeah.
Can I knock a mule out and like
No.
carry him around?
Not with a body because
No.
you don't carry it in your hands. It's on you. It's
Okay.
strapped to your back only.
Yeah.
That's
Um,
disappointing. I'd love just to
but,
carry him around.
But one thing I was going to say is one thing I do like about the game. I think it's really interesting is because Sam is a repatriate. For some reason, his bodily fluids are anathema to BTs. So when you take a shower in the game,
Yeah.
all the water from your body is transferred to a vial.
Yeah,
And then you can chuck that at BTs, and they're like, ah.
yeah.
But also,
Same with-
urine
yeah.
and poo are like better, more effective stuff to chuck
Yeah.
at BTs.
You
No,
can,
like legit.
you can use a shit grenade.
Yeah.
Just imagine
And as
like,
well as-
bending over with explosive diarrhea and just shitting all
Oh,
over.
it'd work.
Pretty much,
Also-
yeah.
Also, blood is like the most powerful thing as well.
Yeah,
So
that's a cool part of the game. Which
the hematic grenade. Even if you chuck them at mules, they're like, yuck, and
Yeah.
then you beat them up. Or they're
later,
covered in blood.
later in the game when you get assault
Metal.
rifles and pistols, you can actually use blood rounds. So because your blood like hurts BTs, but normal bullets don't. So you can use blood, but then you use your blood, and then your health goes down.
Yeah, but you have
if
blood
wanna-
bags.
Yeah, it's awesome. There's so many cool like things,
So
and
my thing is just whip it out and start pissing. It's like, come on, come at me.
I haven't
Actually-
done that, but I think you can. Like, you can piss in the game, which I've done, but I haven't pissed on a BT. I think you can. I feel like you could.
I don't know. That's really risky though, because
Yeah, it's risky.
You imagine getting caught. You're like,
Yeah, but they're dragging you down in the mud and you got your dick out and you're like trying to piss on them.
It's risky, but I think.
Oh,
you
there's
could
going to
do
be a
it.
lot of editing to this episode for next week.
You could do it.
This is a genuinely serious question that I'm interested in, and the game doesn't explore this.
Yeah.
But I'm like, would semen be more powerful than blood? And if so, would menstrual blood be more powerful than regular blood? Because
The answer to those is probably both yes.
because that's something. If bodily fluids are such a potent force in the game, I'm like, it has to be.
Look, it's not in the game, but I'm sure Kojima's thought about it. Alan is speechless.
Dr. Alan
I would say
Singh.
biologically, no menstrual wouldn't be as strong because there's also a lining that's being kind of shed. So there's actually less blood in there than your standard good stuff.
What about the jizz?
It is. I feel it's got less fluid content.
It's got a lot of DNA in it though, and
Yeah.
that's the DNA
Yeah.
is
So
anathema to BTs.
Maybe.
If it's the DNA, then yeah,
Yeah.
that's where you want
Probably, yeah.
it. The other thing I was gonna throw it was like breast milk. So that's why you don't invite me to things.
I mean,
Anyway.
when you're playing a Kojima game, you expect this level of weird and crazy stuff.
Remember the PT demo? That was a good time.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. I think we talked about it. You know, when we were talking about like the Death Stranding trailers and all that, like how he was originally going to make Silent Hills, which was like because there hadn't been a Silent Hill game in a long time, and Kojima was like interested in going into that universe, and that would have been amazing.
And the thing is, history proved Konami wrong in this, because then we've got Resident Evil 8 and also the Resident Evil 2 remake, which are of a similar enough
7.
vein. 7, sorry.
Yeah.
With Resident Evil 7, which is of a similar enough
Resident
nature
Evil
to
7,
Silent Hills.
Yeah, takes a lot from PT,
Yeah.
I think. A lot of games took a lot from
But,
PT.
and that game was a massive success.
Yeah. So, I mean, fuck Konami.
No, I mean,
they-
we should point out as well that Konami isn't particularly interested in video games anymore.
They just make pachinko machines.
and the sports games that they
and
keep
that's
putting
the
out,
problem.
right?
Like, Kojima is known for the Metal Gear Solid game. Like, he was making Metal Gear Solid 5. And if I'm not mistaken, they pretty much said, finish the game now or else. And so, like, the game doesn't, like, have an ending. Or the ending that was there, like...
He didn't finish the game.
Yeah, the game's unfinished.
Yeah, that's right. Now, I personally love that game.
Yeah. The game came out, and then... then afterwards, they took his name off it.
Yeah.
And
And, so
then-
even at one of our local game stores,
Yeah.
after they moved the name from the game, at one
had
of our local
signs.
game stores, they had signs that said Hideo Kojima's
Yeah.
Metal Gear Solid 5.
Yeah. And, like, then Konami wouldn't let Kojima to the... accept his award at the
Yeah, that's
the
right.
game. I can't remember the game awards, and so there was this huge backlash against Konami, who had pretty much severed ties with Kojima, who
Yeah,
had
that's right. And they hold on not just Metal Gear Solid, but they hold on to so many other brilliant properties,
Yeah.
and they never do anything with them.
No.
And if they do, it's a gambling machine.
because like we said, they don't actually care about the
like
games.
just like they
just
should
want-
sell the properties.
Yeah. So I guess the best thing to happen to Kojima, even though we'll never get Silent
Our
Hills,
boy Andy House coming out being like, he's on mine now.
was that he left Konami and made his own studio and was basically like Kojima Unleashed, like do whatever you want, and Sony was like, come to us, we'll give you all the money. And and I think a lot of the ideas from Silent Hills are in Death Stranding, like this idea of connection, the fact that Silent Hills was apparently going to be about multiple universes,
Norman Reedus.
and Norman Reedus was in it, and Guillermo del Toro was involved. So a lot of that, I think, transferred over to Death Stranding. And so, you get a lot of interesting philosophical stuff. There's a lot of, because people send you emails in the game, like characters.
Yeah, I love
and,
that. Interviews,
all
kinds of great stuff.
There's all this supplementary material that just fills in all the backstory and all these ideas of, like, psychology and
The emails are
philosophy.
cool. I've got a few emails. The emails are cool.
Yeah, but it's
Lots of
like
world-building stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And it adds into like what Kojima is trying to do with the game, where it's like he's not just making a game with some cool ideas. He's like making a philosophical like a psychological evaluation of the game industry and humanity. And
Well, I mean, we live in a particularly cynical time politically.
yeah,
So it's kind of, I understand, his whole idea is let's do something positive. Let's play a positive game.
bring people together.
Bring people together through games.
Yeah,
I'm like, so
have people work together. Yeah.
I mean, it's cool.
It's really cool. Like I said, like it'd be great to see as like a TV show or like a comic book series or something.
Yeah.
Like just explore that idea more and more and more.
He does want to transition to movies apparently, so that'll be interesting.
Which I mean, Kojima has always said he wanted to be a filmmaker,
And he just kind of landed in.
and his movies, he
video
just
games.
landed. But his video games have always been very cinematic, and have been known for long cutscenes and have been very heavily, Metal Gear Solid, all the games were very heavily influenced by Hollywood action movies.
Well, even his earliest work, like Police Noughts, was like heavily inspired by Blade Runner.
Exactly, yeah. So like he's always been about that, and so for Kojima Productions to make movies would make so much sense. And now his partnership with Norman Reedus and Guillermo del Toro, who
Mads.
we mentioned, Mads Mikkelsen, Nicholas Winding Refn, and all the other actors and filmmakers, it's like perfect time for him to be
he really networked with this. He really built his own bridges, didn't he?
and the ideas in the game are like I said, you could make the TV show. Like I would like to see whatever he wants to make. I want to see it. Even though it's going to be crazy and convoluted and I'm not really going to understand it, I just want to see it. And just visually, all the design of Death Stranding, awesome.
One thing I will say that I think some people are wrong about, and granted I'm not that far in the game yet, but everyone's like, oh, the game just looks all the same. It's just all the same shade of green all the time. I'm like, I don't know if I agree with that because I've seen a lot of green, but I've also seen lots of interesting other biomes.
There's the further you go west, because the game, you start on the east coast of the US and you go to the west coast, like, there's different environments.
Yeah, like I'm like it's pretty different. Like it's I understand like you can say that about any open world game though. Like,
pretty much.
Like even Breath of the Wild, you could say that's very samey after a fashion. It has different biomes.
Well, yeah,
but
exactly.
all the biomes still going to look the same anyway.
Yeah,
it's the same with this Stranding.
Yeah, and that's the only that's maybe the only one of the major problems with the game I have is that at the end of the day, you know, even though with all these crazy ideas behind it and all the fun I'm having with it. At the end of the day, it's an open world game, and with all open world games, even the best ones, they have open world game problems.
Yeah,
which is a lack of focus, I think.
Well, I think I might have mentioned it before, how there's a part of the game where you have to go to the wind farm.
Yeah,
and it's like that's like a really cool part of the game, and you have to avoid BTs to get there, and it's like this really rocky, mountainous area, and you have to do a lot of climbing and navigating. But like when you go back, even though it's open world, you still have to struggle against BTs when you're going through it, but not when you're going out.
Yeah.
So there's a whole bunch of other weird stuff that doesn't transition.
The game knows you're going to the wind farm, so it puts all these BTs in your way to make it harder to deliver a package. But once you've delivered it, everything clears up and you're fine. You can run off and do the next mission.
I'm like, even though it's open world, it still forces some
There's like the script, That's the problem is like, I fucking loved Red Dead Redemption 2. But that game is so open and you can do so many great things that you end up not being able to do anything because the game wants you to do specific things in a certain order. You can't do this there. You can't put this here.
I loved the intro to that game, and the Red Dead 2.
Okay.
And then I got to the point where the game opens up, and I'm like, fuck.
See,
it's too big, too much to do.
I get that's all open world games. It's like the bigger it gets, whereas the start of that game is just kind of slow and introducing you. And I restarted the game, Red Dead, and that part is so grating and so like, oh yeah, hitch the horse here, go in this door here. Like it wants you. I know it's teaching you the game, but it's like,
but for me,
for
it was
an
more
open world
focused.
game, yeah. But that's the thing is like, an open world game, you should be able to do anything, everywhere, all the time. But when you can do that, it becomes so daunting that you kind of don't want to. But if an open world game is forcing you to do certain things in certain ways, then it's like, well, what's the point? So it's like a double-edged sword. It's like either way, you're damned.
Yeah. What do you reckon, Alan?
Did you finish Red Dead?
No, I didn't. I got into it pretty much as I moved to Canberra.
Okay.
So it kind of got left on the back burner. I think I started it off and I was like, it's a nice big open world.
Yeah.
But I never really got further into that apart from there.
Yeah.
And I do remember from playing number one, I was just like, like...
I think that...
Because it was sold to me as GTA with horses, and damn, it was not GTA with horses. There wasn't enough horse theft going on.
What you can steal
horses, but like you can't customize the horse.
Yeah,
you can't take it through. You can't take it through a washer and change the coat.
Yeah, you can.
You can like change the saddle and shit, but
yeah, you can like braid its mane and tail and shit. It's awesome.
Change the number plate.
Yeah,
I need upgrades, like speed upgrades to the horse. I caught the best damn horse and somebody shot it, and I was like,
yeah, that's the worst when you get.
You shot my horse. At least with GTA, you get the insurance.
You can
and
name
give you the same car back.
You can name your horse. It's awesome, boy. But that also brings me to my point that I was talking about earlier with Death Stranding, where it's like, I mean, I can't remember exactly what I was going to say, but basically going off that point is like when the world is so big and like Death Stranding has that, and that's the point of Death Stranding, is to connect people, to walk to places. One of the cool parts of the game is when you're just walking and a song will start playing.
Yeah.
And it's like the game wants you to soak in the environment and experience the hike and experience the travel and the journey. But yeah, in terms of like the story, then that kind of falls by the wayside almost. But I guess that's all open world games, and I mean,
I think it's also about ease of travel. ease of location. In games like Grand Theft Auto and certain games, like we'll say the Assassin's Creed games have a little bit of this, it's easier to traverse through the open world because you can get places more quickly if you need to.
Yeah.
And with games like, it's somewhat Death Stranding, I know you can teleport later on apparently.
Yeah, but you can't take your cargo with you, so
can't
it's a
take-
real,
yeah, yeah.
it's a real ball buster.
Yeah. But in games like this and in games like Red Dead, travel's a bit harder. And I think
Yeah.
if you have a lot of places to be and the open world is daunting, then it's harder to get around.
That's what I was gonna say. Actually, was that when you're a kid, it feels like you got forever to play games.
Oh yeah.
And the older you get, even though maybe you might have some more money to buy games with, you have less time to play them. And so, like I was saying before, where I think the best way to play Death Stranding is just to ignore everything else and play the game really slowly and play the game like Kojima wants you to. If there's a mountain and you have to get to a place on the other side of the mountain to deliver cargo, slowly hike that mountain, experience the game. But yeah, when you got so many other games to play, when you got TV shows to watch, when you got work, when you got family stuff. Like, you can't, so it's like, it ends up sort of, you just kind of want to get to the next point. And I think that's why a lot of people, like Nathan especially, is just like, nah, it's too daunting, just forget it.
Yeah.
But I think this game...
But I think there's a richness if you can like persevere.
Yeah.
I think it'll be worth it.
Because, yeah, like, it might sound like I'm rushing through this game, but I've been playing for, I don't know... When did it come out? It came out
there was
last
some guy on Twitter,
Friday, a week and a half ago. So I've been playing
some guy on Twitter,
hours and hours
some
and
guy on
hours
Twitter
on it.
said he'd been playing for 41 hours and he's only into like the meat of chapter 3.
Yeah.
So like they've spent a lot of time building relationships with all the different cities.
Yeah.
And they've been doing that for 40 hours. They're up to nearly chapter 4.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know one review I saw said that it took him a month to finish.
Yeah.
You know? So
there's a phenomenon on Steam where you'll get some guy will be reviewing an online game and you can see how long they've played it for.
Yeah.
And it'll have 5,000 hours played and he'll be like, pretty bad, don't recommend.
Yeah.
It's like that. It's like you play a game for so many hours, you're like, didn't like it.
Yeah. But that's the thing is, like, you know, I'm playing the game and I'm like walking and walking and walking and I'm like, oh, this is really boring. This has the problems of most open world games, you know. It's too daunting and it's taking too long and I just want to get to the next part and I just want to learn about the story and the characters. And then I'll like, it'll click and I'll be like, oh, I get it. This is what Kojima wants. This is what the game is.
When you reach the top of a vista,
Yes.
and then sprawling underneath you is something you
yeah.
weren't expecting.
I'm at a point in the game where you literally have to just walk across America pretty much non-stop. You can stop, but I'm at a point where you just have to walk across the whole continent. And you walk up and there's like, you can see the Aurora Borealis. And I'm just like, oh, this is what it's about. But yeah.
Also, this isn't a spoiler because people have been sharing GIFs everywhere. Apparently there's also giant robot dinosaurs.
That's because it's made with Horizon Zero Dawn's engine.
Yeah, now you'll get there, but I've seen like giant dinosaurs made out of metal and shit. It's like real weird.
Moving around?
That's Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah,
it uses the same game engine.
I know.
Could be an Easter egg.
Because you know when you get to different...
Oh, no, they're not holograms.
Okay, yeah, because I've got
Yeah.
the holograms of... What's her name? Aloy? The main
Aloy.
character? Yeah, Aloy, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And the dinosaur, yeah. But that would be cool if you find them walking around.
Probably an Easter egg.
yeah,
yeah.
I don't think
That
they're like
makes
I don't
sense.
think they're like a part of like the game canon.
Yeah.
I think it's just like stuff.
Yeah. Here's another thing about open world games. When there's so much stuff in it and you can do everything, then you start to question, well, why can't I do this? And why can't I do that? Well, if I can get that hat, why can't I get that guy's hat? And then you kind of become like greedy, or, you know, like you want more and more and more.
That's why you play Grand Theft Auto, because you can indulge those practices.
Not really, because then every GTA game, it's even the best ones, it's like you'll do something and you'll be like, well, I can go in this house, but why can't I go in that house? You know, it becomes more and more, and the better technology gets, you know, with Red Dead Redemption 2, which was like so realistic and you could do so many things, and then you go to a place and you're like, well, why can't I do this? Why can't I take this? Why can't I pick up that guy's gun?
And you know what?
That's
What
when
got
you go
invented?
into a rampage
And
and
see-
kill everyone in town.
The good Lord saw this problem, and that's why he invented pen and paper games.
Exactly, yeah. And that's the thing, is like your imagination, nothing will ever beat it. There's never been a medium that'll match like what you can do in imagination.
And boy, do we use our imagination in our pen and paper games.
We do.
How much does a bear's head weigh? Let's find
That's
out.
right. To the internet.
Can I taste it?
That's right. One thing I will say is I don't want there to be a sequel to Death Stranding. I want Death Stranding to be a one-off game. But what I would like is when Christmas time comes around, maybe a special mission where Sam has to deliver teddies. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Like,
Santa mission.
yeah, and like maybe
You don't
like
want
With a
Death
big-
Stranding 2 European Boogaloo?
With a big sack. Yeah, carry on your
yeah, like
back.
I think
and
that'd be
a
cool
red hat.
if they did like like
And
little.
the BT's like Grinch's.
Yeah, that
Oh,
would be
BTs,
fun.
yeah, BTs have like green faces.
That
No,
would
but
be
you
fun.
know, like I think stuff like that, like
Yeah, yeah.
seasonal kind of orders you can do to breathe. Maybe some trees will just have tinsel around them in some of the snowy areas during Christmas time. Not a permanent update,
Yeah,
but I think that'd be kind of
be
interesting.
interesting.
Like breathe some life into the world.
yeah.
For people who are still playing it.
And that's the thing, is because the thing is the map is so huge and there's so much ground to cover. Like with most open world games, there's so much stuff and yet it almost feels empty.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I think one of the cool things about that whole multiplayer aspect where people can leave stuff and it'll enter into your game is that it feels more populated.
yeah.
Which is like why I said at the start, like it'd be interesting to play it offline to see.
Yeah.
Although I have a feeling, this isn't confirmed, this is just a theory. I have a feeling if you play it offline, there might be randomly generated
Yeah, there
items that drop
There are.
in.
They're still there in online mode. Like there'll be a guy who runs one of the bridges centers.
Yeah.
He'll own a ladder that's been placed.
Yeah, exactly.
Or like a rope or what
Yeah.
have you. So
you could still play the game offline and not
Oh,
have
yeah, but
those
the game,
elements.
you know what those NPCs don't do?
Yeah.
They don't build roads.
Yeah.
They don't build bridges.
They don't leave trucks and motorbikes around.
The game would have been designed to be able to be finished if you're playing single player.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, it'll just be an interesting experience. One more thing I want to say is that I like the combat moments in the game, and I kind of want them to be more. But also, I find them to be the weakest part of the game because that's not what the game is about. The game is about transporting cargo.
I really enjoyed the first boss battle. That's the only boss battle I've had.
Yeah.
But like, I thought it was really cinematic how you're kind of like climbing on top of like shipping freight,
buildings and
crates, and you have to like you're chucking your grenades at the boss.
Yeah.
And it's all just really cinematic, and I loved that.
Yeah, they're great moments, and Kojima's, so great at the cinematic moments, but, like, combat is not where the strength of the game lies, especially because the whole inventory management, which I love, all that puzzling of where do you put your stuff.
Yeah, just triangle, man. That's it.
Yeah, and just triangle and then auto set it. But, like, the whole weapons, the weapons become part of your cargo, which is annoying because if you want to carry a rifle or
But also
grenade,
realistic in the way the game approaches your weight management.
Yeah, but I'm just talking about in terms of the combat of the game.
Yeah.
When you can't, like, you can't just carry your rifle on you all the time. You can't have a pistol in a holster.
Yeah.
Like, you have to have it as part of your cargo on your
that
back
sucks.
or on your carrier. You can put stuff on your tool rack. So if you have a gun that you're using, you can put
that's
on
ladder
your tool
territory, though, James.
rack. Nah, man, you never put on your, because then you got this big ladder sticking on your back and it's really annoying. But yeah, I feel like when you get into a combat situation, it's just annoying. You have to go into the cargo inventory system, figure out what weapons you're using, and then change it all around to match. Like, there should be more of an intuitive thing that's just for the weapons side. Like, as far as I know, unless I'm missing something, the bottom in the D-pad doesn't do anything.
I
So
haven't seen that yet.
Yeah.
I know that you do press down on the D-pad to when you press L1 to look at the BB.
yeah, but like
that's
on its
about it.
own,
Yeah,
on
that's
its
about
own. So when you push right on the D-pad, you open your equipment and weapon menu.
Yep.
When you push left on the D-pad, you open your like health
Refreshment.
items.
Yeah.
And up on the D-pad is like your cosmetic items, like hats and glasses and stuff.
And boots, I think, as well.
Yeah, and so I think they should separate the equipment
Guns
and
into
guns
down.
to down.
Yeah.
So if you get into a combat situation, you just push down and you pull out your assault rifle.
Because
Or
what's really
whatever.
annoying is trying to find them in your big wheels.
Because you've got all your equipment, you've got the ladders and your ropes and all this, and then you have to find where the weapon is. And then
Yeah.
if you're not carrying it on your back and you're carrying it on your carrier or on a vehicle, then you have to go and
You were saying you can hit people with cargo.
yeah.
Can you hit people with ladders?
Yeah,
Probably, yeah.
Like,
but,
can you?
but not extended.
Ah, I was
But
gonna
you know
say,
what the
if you
best
could
look-
extend the ladder and then like
In
swing
terms
it,
of-
That would be cool.
that would be cool.
In
That would
terms
be
of
cool.
fighting human enemies, the best way is to throw shit at them and then beat them up.
Just beat him.
Which is what you can do. You can chuck like your excrement grenades at them and then you just like wail on them.
Well, I mean, yeah, if someone threw poop at me, I'd be concerned.
Yeah, no, it's like with blood. They get really, they're like, yuck, yuck.
Yeah,
You just
well-
start hitting them.
Like, you
knock
get
them
into a
out.
fight
It's
with
funny.
somebody throwing shit. You don't want to be in that fight.
The thing is, if someone
Just
throws
walk away.
if someone throws blood at me, I'm more worried about my health
Yeah, no, it's
in
funny
some
when-
respects than if someone throws poop at
when you,
me.
it's funny. You cover
'Cause, like,
yourself in your own blood and your own shit, and you get back to a bridges. You get back to a bridges center.
Yeah.
and it's like you just like look at Norman Reedus. He's like covered in his own like
Yeah.
He's like own bodily fluids.
I always like I have this like I can't help every
like a
time I
white
go
stain on
you
his
shower.
I have to
Yeah.
go straight to
I
the
see,
shower. I'm
yeah,
just like
me too.
ugh god.
Norman doesn't care. Why do you?
I like the private room you can slam Monster energy drinks.
Oh,
That's
that's
one-
one. Okay, that's one criticism. I understand that
Yeah.
he needed money,
Yeah.
but one criticism I have is just how shameless it is.
No man, it gives you extra
No, I know, but
stamina.
it's like yeah, but the logo's there. It's like smashing Monster Energy drinks.
That's one
Whenever you
criticism
drink-
I do have.
No. When you drink from your canteen, it's drink a
Yeah.
Monster Energy drink.
In a couple of missions, it changes what it is anyway. So it's
Yeah,
not
but
even-
but still, I'm not a fan of that aggressive
Will it become Coca-Cola?
not a big-
advertising.
it's not a big deal.
Oh, come on.
It's such a small
It'll be a
part
big
of the
deal
game.
when there
And-
are updates rolled out because the contract has changed and it's some other monster.
Yeah, it'll
like
be
energy-
Coca-Cola. And also,
Yeah.
when you're taking a shit, in front of the screen in the game, it comes.
Oh,
it
yeah.
has watch
Right.
ride on AMC with
Norman
Norman Reedus.
That's funny. I think that's just a meta joke. Like that's a
No,
funny
look,
joke.
I understand.
Also,
but-
because it's from an old season of the show, like it's not even advertising the show.
no, but I'm just like the
It's
product
funny.
placement is like so.
And there are
cringe.
like there are just so many like Nicholas Winding Refn and Guillermo del Toro like plugs. Like, have you seen Shape in the like one of the emails is have you seen Shape of Water? It's really good.
God.
Like I think it's just Kojima being really meta. Like there's a point in the game where you meet
No,
Heartman.
no. I think let's we need to
I'll like-
separate him being meta with Shape of Water from fucking Norman Reedus, so Sam Porter like on front of a
it's not-
TV screaming like,
No, but-
"Drink Monster Energy drink. It helps me deliver
so-
packages." Wink.
I feel there's that separation of if it's advertising Norman Reedus in one of the
Yeah,
series,
yeah.
that's obviously being meta. That's
Yeah.
fine.
I know what you guys
when
are saying, but it's not
clearly
a
just
big
a product
deal.
placement.
It's not a
I
big
just think
deal.
it's distasteful.
It's not
that's
a big
all.
deal.
Yeah, it's not a big deal.
And
Like, it doesn't ruin the game.
Yeah,
but like, come on.
Like I
man.
said to you the other day, it's like the more money Kojima got to make this game, the better. So
Like,
you know,
well, instead of having him pounding Monster Energy drinks,
Yeah.
why not have like a ruined billboard of Monster Energy drinks?
actually that would have been cool.
You know what I mean? Like, there's ways to incorporate brand
But
placement.
then you would have been
into-
complaining about
But
that.
also,
No, I wouldn't.
is this encouraging kids to pound 5 Monster
Yeah,
Energies
that's
before
another
school?
thing.
Because that'll lead to health problems.
Wait, they already do that.
No, but the amount of Monster Norman Reedus' character Sam
Yeah.
Porter Bridges
Yeah.
drinks in this game is harmful to your health.
To be fair though,
I just
he
felt
has to intake a lot because of the amount
yeah,
of
no,
traveling.
he would burn it. He would.
the electrolytes. That's right. But
He can't die, so it's fine. All right.
My question is it localized? That we get advertised as Monster Energy and there's something
No,
else.
I think
the
it's
reason,
Monster-
I,
I
say,
think
the
it's
reason I
Monster
say no is because all the memes on the internet, like I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
it's universal.
Okay,
but
because I was wondering if like in Japan it's like something by Sapporo or something.
Yeah. Bacardi
Calpis,
Sweat.
Calpis.
But
I just think that there are better ways to incorporate branding that don't that aren't like it's like having a dick in your face. It's like right there.
It's fine. You
but
just
like,
ignore it.
No. Like I feel like you're right. He does need the money, but at the same time, like I feel like him pounding Monster Energy drinks.
Yeah.
I'm like that's very aggressive branding.
And
When
the
you
man
can
drinks almost
give him-
no water.
It's not. I wouldn't be complaining
He's
about it.
dehydrated
Yeah.
all the time.
No, if it's on a billboard, I wouldn't complain about it because frankly, it's a post-apocalyptic game.
Yeah.
So and it's in America, number 2.
Yeah.
Right. So if there was a Coca-Cola billboard, I'd be like, well, of course there's a Coca-Cola
makes
billboard.
sense.
But you want me to believe in the world of Death Stranding?
Yeah.
The only place safe from the BTs is the Monster Energy
See,
factory.
But this is also why I think
That's the joke,
I think
but-
this is why it also plays into Kojima's like tongue-in-cheek meta-ness is because there's a mission in the game where you can deliver pizza.
Yeah,
You know, like
that's
it's just
fine.
Kojima being like, "Hey, here's a fun dumb
Yeah.
thing." Like I know it's a very aggressive product placement, but it's not a big deal, and it fits in, I think, with Kojima's overall sense of humor. I think
Ah, man, I'm telling it's shit.
it's not a big deal. Doesn't change anything in the game.
Look, I just think it's
At least it's not Pepsi.
I just think
I mean,
it's a little,
I don't drink Monster and I drink Pepsi, but
I just think
I drink
you know
Coke mostly.
I think especially call
feel
me
it should've been
a
a beer.
prude.
I feel it should have been a beer.
Yeah, a nice
Oh, well,
Corona.
that's
That would've been
I
funnier.
don't want to spoil it for Callum, but that's what it changes to later in
Oh,
the
that's
game.
fine.
That's
Does it change to
funnier.
Corona?
That's why you shouldn't. It's not a big deal. No, it's not Corona.
Oh,
it
is
it
it
shouldn't be a big
red?
deal because literally in a couple hours, Callum,
It'll be Budweiser.
it won't even be Monster anymore, and so you won't even think
I
about
just
it.
look. This is maybe a little say conservative of me, but I feel like they're advertising to the markets generally.
No,
at
the
18 to-
game's rated MA.
Yeah, no, I know. But
Or is it
energy
R?
drinks,
Is it MA or is it R over in
energy
Australia?
drinks
It's
in
MA.
such a quantity
MA.
can be harmful to your health.
No, it's MA.
Oh look, I don't drink energy drinks; they're poison.
This isn't a
but-
Call of Duty situation
I-
where it's
I-
like it's very clearly advertised to children.
Yeah, I don't
even
think
though
it's predatory in any
Yeah,
way.
no.
Yeah,
It's just a little shameless, that's all.
Yeah, it's like it's a bit.
not a big deal.
I just think it's kind of
Yeah.
smelly.
Just you like I said, you'll get to a point in the game where you're just slamming beers, which is arguably worse. So, but
But I do that anyway.
at, le-
come on now.
at least the monster won't be in your mind anymore.
Uh,
But at least you can use alcohol to kill demons
Can you?
in real life. I mean,
Oh, I thought you meant the BTs.
no Monster Energy won't help.
I have a lot of demons.
Oh god.
To quote our boy Michael Sheen, was it they have a lot of demons inside?
Oh
They
yeah,
need to
2.5
die?
men joke.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alcohol's a poison.
Oh.
Well, there's things in me I need to kill.
Isn't alcohol the poison? I think
Charlie Sheen.
Yeah, Charlie Sheen.
Charlie Sheen. I
Michael
said
Sheen's the
Sheen.
British actor.
Yeah,
Never mind,
no.
yes, different gentleman.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Well, when did he say?
Yeah,
No,
Talking
yeah,
about
the old 2.5 men joke. The boy asks,
Okay.
"Isn't alcohol poison?" He's like, "Yeah, there's things inside me that need to die."
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Namely the AIDS. Sorry.
oh Jesus.
I'm
forgot
just
about
deleting
that.
this.
I forgot about that.
It's AIDS. Is it HIV or just AIDS?
I think it was HIV.
It's HIV. AIDS is actually
Yeah.
the
It's actually
disorder that you
tiger
get.
blood.
Yeah, that's the correct term.
Anyway.
Anyway, we did a lot of rambling. I don't think we actually talked about anything.
Hey, but we had a good
in
time.
the game.
Oh well, I mean, what can you talk about? I mean,
yeah, well, that's the thing. I don't want to spoil it for anyone. And like I said, we can't talk a lot about it because no one's really played it in the room. It doesn't look like anyone is going to play it, so that's a bit disappointing.
Hey,
You
considering-
wait till I finish.
Well, no,
Callum's dozens of hours in.
But
Yeah,
but like hundreds of hours. But that's what I'm saying is that hundreds of hours from now, Callum might get to a point where we can talk about it more, but we can't in the show.
No,
so-
to be fair, that's the game he's
And-
playing right now.
No, but that's what I'm
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Is
I'll have the
we,
game
we can't
finished
really
by
talk about it
Christmas.
now.
No,
you
you
reckon
won't.
you'll
Yes,
finish
I
by
will.
No,
Christmas?
you won't.
Because
I
I gotta
doubt
make
it.
I gotta make space for
This is my point. Is I
make
feel like
space for
Cyberpunk.
Cyberpunk.
that's the thing. Is so yeah, I want anyway.
I almost finished Pokemon in like 4 days, Callum. So calm down.
But that's a weeb's game. I'm talking about a man's game. Death Stranding's a man's game.
A man's game. You remember how you suck on Overwatch and you stop playing? Yeah. Real men play Overwatch.
Do they?
Yeah.
They do the same thing.
14-year-old
And how you gonna-
14-year-olds play Overwatch.
You only play one hero, all right?
I'm like,
That's why you have
how,
that
how you
time.
gonna hate on us playing a quote unquote weebs game when you play the weeb game of the century, Final Fantasy 14?
That's true. Yeah, you can't. Yeah.
Okay.
Pot calling the kettle black,
Okay.
or kettle calling the pot black, whichever one. That's both the same. Moving on.
But anyway,
I
yeah.
think.
Maybe when everyone's finished it in 10 years from now, we might talk about it again. But otherwise,
Look, it'll be part of our Christmas special.
well, we'll see.
That'll be our present to you finishing the damn game.
Yeah, because I doubt Nathan's going to finish it.
We'll see.
But yeah, maybe we'll. Because I was so excited for it, and we were talking about it so much, and it looks like it's kind of
Look,
fizzled
but
out
if I'm
now.
not finished by the time that Alan's going to do the special, we can spoil it. I won't care.
Yeah. But then I don't want to spoil it for Callum.
Oh, I'll be.
He'll be
done.
finished.
Yeah,
He'll
by
be finished.
Christmas I will.
If we finish
There
it,
comes
we'll
a
have
point
given
in a
up
game
and come
where-
up-
you say that, but
No, but there comes a point in all of these types of games where you put the side missions away.
Yeah.
yeah,
And you get the story over, and then you
Yeah.
come back later.
See, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm like, do I spend? I don't know
Yeah.
how many
'Cause the
hours
thing is-
trying to level up the wind farm.
it's
Because
not
it's
even
that open
worth
world.
it. Yeah,
It's that open world problem where I can come back and do all these things after I finish the main campaign. Most of the time in these games, it works that way.
Yeah.
So you get the story out of the way first. That takes you, what, 2 dozen hours?
It depends
and
on-
then you can go back and do all the
Yeah,
side
it
crap.
depends on how the game's structured
Yeah.
as well. GTA, you could do the side missions and the main missions pretty much
Yeah.
back to back all the time in the same area. But Death Stranding is like you have to do a lot of backtracking and you
Yeah.
know, so it's like
So
a different.
I'll get the game finished because I'll probably just won't do that many
you could
side
just
missions.
you can
Yeah.
honestly just smash the.
I'll smash the story
missions.
and then go back if I want.
Yeah,
So we'll all have finished it.
yeah. But yeah, I'd like to talk about it in like proper full swath.
Yeah, you know,
and talk
we'll
about all
definitely
the
get
characters in the story because that's like all the stuff I like.
Yeah.
But anyway, should we move on
Yes.
to well, we're gonna talk about
Talk about conspiracies and how Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself.
Oh, we talked about that the other week.
We talked about that.
We on our Ready or Not episode, we discussed at length the billionaire secrets and
Yeah.
mysteries and Jeffrey Epstein, or as we call him on the show, our buddy Jeff.
That was a good episode.
Your buddy.
My buddy Jeff.
That's a card.
Sorry, I'm not
it's
Prince Andrew.
It's
He's
a
not my
Cards
buddy.
Against Humanity card that says "My Buddy Jeff."
Yeah, there's a Cards Against
Also-
Humanity card that says you're like my buddy
yeah,
Jeff.
I remember. Yeah.
As an avid listener of the Tuesday Review, you
Yeah.
do not call us cousins. All right, we'll see you next Tuesdays.
That
Okay?
doesn't even make sense.
Yes, we are.
I mean, I know what you're saying,
Yeah.
but that doesn't make sense.
That's what we are.
Well, I think cousins is better than Tuesday reviewers.
Oh yeah, the reviewers. Yeah, no.
They're cousins, Al.
Yeah, they're
All right,
cousins.
no, we're the Tuesday season. I'll let you.
The C,
Yeah.
the C word.
Yeah.
Hey, what up, C words?
Stands for cousin, all right?
Yeah,
The
exactly.
C words. I like it.
All to all our,
Should
here's
the-
a message to all our C words.
Should the
out there.
fans not be able to decide what they call themselves? I think it's
Well,
fair.
that's what I said on the episode when we were. I'm like, they should be able to decide.
Yeah. If
But-
anyone disagrees with me, please, send them a message because otherwise I'm deciding because I'm a fan. I listen
Oh,
to
God.
every episode.
No, you don't count. Well, we're going to talk about Half-Life Not 3.
Oh, Valve.
So-
I read a tweet where it was like in a meme format text thing, and it was like someone praying to a genie. I want a new Half-Life game. Monkey's pork finger
Oh, yeah.
curls.
Yeah.
Like
So-
sure, you get your Half-Life game, but it's a VR
Yeah,
exclusive.
we all knew this if this was going to happen. I
Now,
mean,
I'm assuming that this game can also be played without a VR headset because most VR games can. It's just not the ideal way to play the game.
Depends on the game.
Yeah.
If Valve's pushing their own actual hardware, then maybe not.
Yeah, like this is what I think is happening. So Half-Life 2 came out 15 years ago, more. Then they made Half-Life 2 Episode 1, Half-Life 2 Episode 2, which were like sequels, but like little DLC expansions. And that was over 10 years ago. And then just nothing. And pretty much everyone in the world had come to terms with the fact that we're never getting Half-Life 3.
Yeah.
That it's just the white whale. It's just something that Valve, who made Steam the platform, it's just like they're not interested in games anymore.
No.
They're interested in the money-making platform of selling games. And so we're just kind of like... And I think, was it earlier this year or last year where one of the creative writers of Half-Life 2 released that...
The script earlier this year, yeah.
Yeah, and he released a script of what was clearly meant to be the story for Half-Life 3, but he just renamed some things and was like, here's an idea I had, everyone, wink, wink. And everyone just made their peace with the fact that Half-Life 3 is never coming because Valve is not interested in making Half-Life 3, just like they're not interested in making any 3s. Portal 3, Left 4 Dead 3, like they don't
No
care
Team
about...
Fortress 3.
Exactly, they don't care about making games anymore. They're just like, we're going to make money off our platform of selling games.
Yeah, instead of Dota 2, we get Dota Underlords or whatever.
Yeah.
Dota 3, rather.
Instead of Portal 3, we got that... There was like a Portal mobile game or something. Like,
Yeah.
they clearly didn't care and people had kind of accepted it. But it's one of those things where it's like, we need that game. We need that game. And now they've announced Half-Life Alyx, which is a VR game. So it's not 3.
I'd just like to say that according to a technical Steam statistic, 0.33% of the Steam user base
Yeah.
has the hardware required to play this game.
Yeah. I think it's clearly just Valve pushing their...
It's
their
they're
tech.
interested.
Yeah.
This is what they're interested in making. They're
It's-
interested in making a VR game.
Yeah.
This is going to please nobody except Valve.
Which when Half-Life Episode 2 came out and then there was a huge gap of just like nothing, I suspected that if there was going to be a Half-Life 3, they wanted it to be so technologically ambitious that's why we hadn't seen it. That was my wishful thinking. And one of the rumors was, and one of my theories was that they were going to make like the first truly great VR story-driven game.
Look, it still might be.
But then there was nothing. There was silence for years. And now they're making this game, which is not called Half-Life 3.
It still might be amazing.
Yeah, and because now that is a VR game, it probably won't be that good. Just the fact that
hardware's not there yet.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing is there was a theory that maybe they're waiting for the hardware to catch up to truly make Half-Life 3 a great game. But I feel like this is just them being like, all right, we're at the point now where we can sell some units, move some units.
I understand this is going to sound like a hot take, but VR's bad. Now, I've paid for VR headsets in my time. I got the cheap one. I didn't like it. I got the one for the Samsung phones, the Gear.
Yeah.
It was okay. Made my eyes hurt. Now, one of our friends in common, Andrew, acquired one of the actual PC gaming headsets for VR.
Yeah.
I can't remember which model it was, but he upgraded his computer. Like, he did the whole shebang.
Yeah.
Like, he spent a lot of money on being able to actually properly experience VR. Gave him a headache. He didn't like it.
Yeah.
And he took it. So
he used the Rift S, I believe.
yeah. So my point is, like, people talk a big game about VR.
Yeah.
In real life, it's not Neuromancer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There's-
It's like real world VR is not the cyberpunk equivalent.
Yeah, we talked about this on an episode quite a few weeks ago where I'd never used VR before and I wasn't really into it. I could see the appeal and I would like to, in the future, get involved with it, but I was never... My friend Damien, who's like full into VR, he, just let me use his... And I could definitely see, I was like, he made me a believer. I was like, I get it.
But did your eyes hurt after 20 minutes?
But the technology's still to a point where, one, it's expensive, and two, you can only use it for maybe a couple hours.
Especially if, like most of the people in this room, your eyesight's not the most... half the people in this room, your eyesight's not the most amazing thing in the world.
Yeah, and it's just... It's also at a point where it's not that cool Neuromancer Ready Player One thing where you can just reach out and grab...
I want my optical nerve to be overridden. I don't want to have to put on a bulky headset.
Yeah,
okay?
exactly.
That's
old.
So,
I played Callum's cheap hardware unit, and I had a really great time.
not cheap, but yeah, go on.
In relative VR terms, Callum, it's cheap.
Yeah,
Right?
It was a phone VR.
It's not thousands of dollars, it's phone VR.
VR is different from...
And I had a really good time on it, and that was the cheapest version, so I can see the appeal, but...
Yeah, look,
the technology's not there
give
yet.
it 30
Yeah.
years. Like,
So,
literally
yeah.
30 years.
So this new Half-Life Alyx, which is named after Alex Vance, which is a main character in Half-Life 2, it feels more like a cynical like marketing ploy of like we want to get more people into our VR, so the new thing to get people on board is to make a Half-Life game, because all the people, even the people who are like, I hate VR, are going to be like, Half-Life, need that. Especially if there's any important story element to it.
And is VR harder to, we'll say, capture footage for Let's Plays?
Yes.
Harder, but
it's two
not,
images.
It's not hard because a lot of people do it. A lot of streamers do it.
They do.
So a lot of Let's Players do it. So it might be harder, but it's not.
Obviously, the game has to enable some kind of like output that goes to like a standard screen. It's like a lot of times when we're watching at PAX, if somebody's got a VR headset thing going, they're seeing it through there, but somebody else that's like waiting for them can see how they're racing on like a screen. So I think it's up to the game to actually kind of be pumping out another.
Yeah, like not all games require you to have the headset. You can some just displayed on the thing when you use the controller to navigate.
Yeah, but yeah, I think because it's not Half-Life 3.
Yeah.
And because it's about Alex, and I don't think, are they going to wrap up the story? I don't think so. So it might be a
episode 3 under a guise of...
It might be a prequel, so that then... I guess that's kind of like, what's the point of that? If it truly is a sequel, then that'll definitely get people on board in terms of sales, just because they want to see how the story ends.
Yeah.
And that it just seems very cynical and fake. And
look, I think if you're going to push a VR game, it has to be amazing, because the competition right now in terms of the games industry is ferocious.
At this point, because Half-Life 3 has become that one game that's like unreachable, that we're never going to get, if Half-Life 3 was ever going to come out, like I said, it has to be this huge technological innovation. And so the only way for Half-Life 3 to actually come out at this point without being a huge disappointment would be if they introduce some sort of Matrix-style jack-in where you're, like, transported to another world. Like, we're at that point now where any Half-Life 3 is going to be disappointing unless it's...
No, I reckon they could get away with a traditional game, but I think that they just have to... Valve hasn't made a proper game in a long time.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't even say Valve to make it. I would say get another company to make the game. A company like CD Projekt, for example.
Yeah.
Like,
there's always...
you get a company with a good reputation to make the game. You leave Valve out of it because they don't know shit anymore. That's all those muscles they've atrophied. Do you know what I mean? They're too interested in their multiplayer money makers.
Exactly. They don't care about the story anymore.
Yeah, like a proper I don't want to say Epic or something like that, but you need like a CD Projekt or a whatchamacallit. They made the Crysis games.
Okay, yeah.
Crytek.
Yeah, like someone like that who knows how to make a first-person shooter.
Well, there's also rose-tinted glasses. Let's be a little bit honest here. Half-Life 1 and 2 have been put on a pedestal.
No, but Half-Life... I would consider Half-Life 1 and 2 two of the greatest games ever made. And playing Half-Life 2 even now is an incredible experience.
It's good, but...
Like, it is a great game.
It is, yeah.
I'd have to do some research.
Look, I'll say this. If I was stuck on a desert island, Half-Life 2 would be in the top 3 games I would take with me.
Yeah.
Like, it is one of those games that, even though it's linear and you kind of know what's going to happen, like, you can play it over and over again and it feels like a new game.
Even Half-Life 1, keep in mind, Jamie, can you please look up the year that Half-Life 1 came out?
98?
Like
97, 98.
I'm saying they're good, but I feel like they're put on a pedestal.
I don't agree with...
Half-Life. When's the last time you played Half-Life 2? It's fucking good.
A while ago.
It's good.
But there are also
19th of November, 1998.
Yeah, so when you... Especially with Half-Life 1, like, yes, it's stated...
And Half-Life 2 was 2004, I think.
If you look at Half-Life 1, even though it's stated, that's godlike for 1998.
Yeah.
That's not a 90s game.
No.
You know what I mean?
Because keep in mind, like, other games in 98 were still, like, 2.5D pixelated.
Yeah, like they were basic.
Yeah.
Half-Life 3 was a massive jump.
Yeah.
Half-Life 1, rather.
1, yeah.
Was a massive jump.
Yeah. Not only just in technical, it was just like a great game, design-wise. And then 2 was just like... That's why 3, I think, you're never going to be able to achieve that.
Because you can make an argument that Half-Life 2 was the first modern shooter. When you think about it, 2004 was pretty early.
Yeah,
when did Halo come out? Well, you didn't...
2001?
That's another game people put on a fucking pedestal.
No, man, that's a fucking good game.
No, you're wrong there.
Look, man, you've already
he's
turned
saying-
traitor with fucking Jedi.
Cal knows I've never been that much of a big fan of Halo. He knows
Halo
that.
1. Halo Combat Evolved.
Halo 1, again, one of the best games.
Yeah, no. Halo Combat Evolved was a masterpiece.
So fucking good, man.
He's just trying to rustle Jimmy's.
No, I'm not. I've never
man.
been that big a Halo fan.
Nah, man.
Callum, help me out here.
Look, I think there's a lot of high-end nostalgia attached to it. I think it's a good game, but I don't see where you're throwing in this masterpiece-ness.
Did you play Halo when it came out?
Yes.
It was fucking mind-blowing.
It was mind-blowing. The original Halo...
Guy shooting some stuff?
You guys shooting some aliens?
It's,
The
okay.
graphics... The
You guys are
graphics...
Good story.
Go play your fucking Pokemons, you bloody weeb. Oh
Alright,
my
I
God.
will.
God damn.
This is some bullshit right here.
This is some bullshit.
I just look.
Callum,
I can come
me
up
and
with.
you will go fucking...
By next week, I'll come up with a dozen games I think are of as equal, if
It's not
better.
a competition, though.
Yeah, it's
No,
not-
I'm just
yeah.
saying, people put these games on these pedestals. They're not that great in hindsight.
Look, it comes back to the Star Wars argument. It's not just Star Wars isn't rose-tinted glasses nostalgia.
No, that's a legit good
It's
movie.
fucking great.
But-
it's the same with those games. It's people love them and go nuts over them because they're fucking incredible. Like, they're next level amazing. Even now,
Agree to disagree?
almost 20 years later, you could play those games and be like, oh shit.
Well, look, the Master Chief Collection comes out next month on PC. You can bet I'm playing the first Halo and
yeah.
the second, at least on PC.
Yeah.
Better hope we have the NBN by then.
Well, yeah, I know. Goddamn, that's gonna be a big download.
Yeah. Should we talk about Age of Empires?
Yes, a game that is not overrated.
Fuck yeah.
A series that's not overrated. Probably one of my.
The
Probably
question is,
up there in my favorite.
Can you get Age of Empires 4 in a cereal box?
Well, they don't do that anymore, unfortunately.
I wish they would.
Yeah, I wish they
Having
would.
worked at a supermarket,
Remember-
this gets
yeah.
written off. This gets written off.
Yeah, whoops. So drop the cereal. Might as well take
Whoops.
the...
Whoops, I better damage this one off.
$1,000 worth of cereal in one day.
I tripped.
We don't buy them, Alan. We damage the boxes off and we just take the CD.
That's what I said. Well, how you damage?
Yeah,
$1,000
Yeah,
I know it
exactly.
can happen.
This is for the right game.
The
Um,
graphics look awesome.
yeah, it looks so good. But like,
But it also
'cause-
it keeps to the same graphical style as the others for the most
yeah,
part.
because I got Age of Empires 2, the definitive edition that came out a few days ago, and I've been playing that, and that's really good. It was only like $20, so it's not a big deal. But if you've already got the HD edition, I
don't
don't
need
think you don't really need it. The changes they made to the UI, the menu,
Yep.
like they make it a bit cleaner, but like it's not that
You're
necessary.
not playing the game for the
They
menu.
removed the idle villager button, so you can't
That's
tell.
annoying.
Apparently, they moved it from near the minimap to the top right, but it's not there. So I don't know if my game's broken. I've
It'll
Googled
probably be. It's only it came out a couple of days ago.
a few days.
They'll probably push it up there.
Yeah, I mean, I've Googled it, I've YouTubed it, and no one seems to have any
that'll
straight
probably get
answer.
that'll probably get fixed.
Maybe it's me, I don't know, but I honestly can't find it anywhere, and that's annoying because the one thing you need to know is if no one,
Yeah, that's
if your
right.
villages aren't
yeah.
working.
No, that's the essential button
But,
of
yeah.
the series.
But it's a really cool game, and if you haven't played it, if you've never played it or you haven't played it since back then, I definitely recommend getting it.
when it comes out, you're gonna.
You mean 4?
4, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about 2 now.
But when 4 comes out eventually,
Yeah.
we're gonna have a LAN session.
Oh fuck.
Yeah.
We'll bring however we're playing it.
I on this topic because I've never played an Age of Empires game before.
Oh.
I was raised
They're really
under a
good.
rock.
See, it's the
Remember-
fuck.
No,
yeah,
I was
but
raised
wait,
under a rock.
can I just
He
say?
has an excuse.
Yeah, no, but can I just say the guy who does all the game?
No,
like,
leave him
reviews
alone. He
and
comes from
stuff-
a village.
I know, but it's
I come
like,
from look, as a child, my father decided it was better to spend money on alcohol than children's games, and whether or not I'm scarred from that coming up is a different story. But now, as a man of modest wealth,
yeah.
I can buy all the games I want and just don't have the time to play them. But I have played in my time Civs, so
Very
Is it-
different.
so is it considerably different the
Yes,
overall
yes.
experience?
So
It's the same general idea, though,
so
right?
you don't,
Like RTS.
Civs is more about controlling cities and more like
more like
large,
SimCity kind of.
yeah, kind of, except it's more like RTS-y.
Yeah.
Where Age of Empires is more about building walls and actual individual unit actions than it is about. So Civs is about policy and like the kind of like the more macro scope. Age of Empires is kind of more like micro in that you'll build your knights,
Build
and
your
then-
army. Yeah.
and then
Right.
you'll go and
You
send
played
people-
Command and Conquer?
No,
No.
but I played
War-
I forget-
Warcraft 3.
Age of Mythology.
I forget the name of the game. It was just an online browser game, but essentially it was freemium, and you'd pretty much have to
Probably a
build,
bit different.
build a little kind of settlement and build it up into over time a fortress and everything else.
Yeah.
Similar but
You'd have
different.
armies. You have to take over certain plots of land so you can get resources.
Sort
Yes.
of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
sort of,
a typical game will start and you control a villager and you'll say, "Hey villager, build a house so that I can have more villagers."
Yeah, you say this,
upgraded town center.
Yeah, this villager chop down the tree so you can get some wood. This villager pick berries so you can have
And
food.
do you get people to breed specifically?
No, you
well,
just create.
you go to a
villages.
town center and you create a villager. So in some ways, technically, I guess.
No, not really.
but
It just comes out as an adult and then
Yeah,
you
but
use that villager. Yeah.
you spawn
You
villagers.
just just need a certain amount of food to create a villager.
You can also
so-
use your priests to convert enemies.
Yeah.
What's that? What does the answer make?
Yeah. So good.
But we highly recommend
Yeah.
it.
Oh, it's so good.
So playing,
Age of Empires 2 is still like the
It's-
cream of the crop when it comes
10
to
out
like,
of 10.
Yeah.
playing Civs very much. I did it with the good man Andrew, and we ended up forming a pact and taking over the entire country or planet. And then eventually we're going to start a war with each other, which I was preparing.
We've
vehemently
almost
for.
ruined friendships over Civs.
Yeah, we'll get into that after
What's
the show.
the landing / multiplayer situation with Age of Empires? Then?
It's the same, kind
so
of.
you can each control like a color or a country, and then you just have to. You're on like 4 corners of the map,
Yeah.
and then you kind of just have to
You
fight
can
for
form-
resources.
Yeah, you
and-
can form alliances, but it's not as like solid as
Yeah.
any other game. It's just kind of like.
Keep,
you'll
again,
help me
keep in
out.
mind this is more about units and buildings than Civs, because Civs is more about policy and stuff.
Yeah.
Policy of bombing Geneva, which I'm very proud of.
But it's a good time. When 4 comes out, we'll have an old school LAN session.
The trailer, because 4, because when did 3 come out? It's been over 10 years.
Yeah, a little
It's
while.
been a long time.
time.
So like people have been saying, "Where's
Who
Age
gives
of
a shit
Empires
about
4?"
3 anyway?
We were still doing LAN sessions in the city when 3 came out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
3 had already been out.
so people have been saying, "Where's 4? Where's 4? Where's 4?" And finally we get a trailer, and it looks awesome. Like, the graphics are really cool.
And didn't all this come about when Bill Gates didn't ask me anything, and someone was like, "Why is there not
he's
another
like,
Age
I'll
of
look
Empires?"
into that. Yeah,
And he's like, "I'll look into this."
and true to his word, like a few weeks later, they announced it. But like, I think the announcement, like the way people still talk about Age of Empires 2 and still like it's still like, I feel like that'll inform 4, and so I'm hoping 4 will be like,
well, look,
you know what I mean?
It's not a secret that 2 is one of the best strategy games of all time.
But do you know what I mean? Whereas like 3 came out and it was like, yeah, that was alright, but it's like 4 is like, this will be it. This will be the next great, and it'll be like, because it's a modern game, but hopefully it'll stick to stay true to what made
2 so great.
20 years ago when did that come
pretty
out?
much,
Yeah. So, I'm really excited for that. That'll be really cool.
Very good.
I think that's it.
That's about it.
Yeah. Thanks to our cousins for listening.
Our C words.
Oh god, this is what happens when Alan comes on your show.
But the C word stands for cousin.
Yeah,
That's right.
Stands for whatever you understand.
Alan, you plug your show first.
All right. Check out Sunrise Arcade on 98.9 Northwest FM every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. You can also check out our podcast on Shout Engine and iTunes and everywhere else. And yeah, you can like our Facebook page or our Twitter if you want. It's Sunrise Arcade.
Cool. Yeah, like and share the Tuesday Review Facebook page. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Tuesday Review AU. Follow me on Instagram at Channel Drifter, where I post every time I watch a movie. You can find our previous episodes on your favourite podcasting app. Check out Alan's show and Maddie J's show, Car Talk, TORQUE. You can find those podcasts wherever you listen. Make sure to rate, review, and subscribe to the Tuesday Review on iTunes. It helps us out a lot. Thanks, everyone, again. Adios, cousins.
See you next Tuesday.